Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of PCOA Voices. Once again, I am your host, Lisa Reams. Welcome to my home. Since mid-March, this has been my primary workspace as the Vice President for Programs and Services at Pima Council on Aging. It's hard to believe that's been 6 months now. It's been quite a year. And that's one of the reasons that we're doing PCOA Voices, to bring us all a bit closer together, even though we're physically distant right now. It helps me feel connected to bring all of you into my home. And we hope it helps you to feel connected with us at PCOA as well. Our goal with this show is to inform you, to engage you, and have some fun along the way. And I just want to remind everyone that if you've missed prior episodes of PCOA Voices, you can find them on our Facebook page or on our website, which is pcoa.org. If you're tuning into our live show, you can even chat with us via the chat feature. If you'd like to do that, you just type in your comment or question and push enter, and PCOA staff are here to say hi to you and help you. So here's our main topic for today's show: falls prevention. Every time PCOA conducts a community needs survey for the community, we get feedback that fear of falling is the #1 concern of older adults or people over the age of 60 in general. And falling is not a normal and inevitable part of aging. There are, in fact, things that you can do. And so every year, the first week of fall, get it, is recognized as Falls Prevention Week. And this year, that's September 21st through 25th. So PCOA is raising awareness on falls prevention throughout the entire month of September. And a couple of episodes back, you met our staff member, Karen Ring, and we talked a little bit about falls prevention, and we wanted to explore that more deeply today. So Karen's back to join us again today with 2 of our other community partners to talk about this. So I would like to welcome to PCOA Voices our very own Healthy Living Program Coordinator, Karen Ring.
Hi.
Community Outreach Coordinator for the Arizona Poison and Drug Information Center, Laura Morehouse.
Hello.
And Interim Program Manager for the Pima County Health Department and co-chair of the Southern Arizona chapter for the Arizona Falls Prevention Coalition, Lee Ituli-Clayson.
Good morning.
Great to have you all here. Hey, Lee, if I can start with you. Tell us about the Southern Arizona chapter for the Arizona Falls Prevention Coalition. What is that? Why is it important? Who's at the table?
So the chapter has been around since 2015, and it's really kind of an integral main component of the state Arizona Falls Prevention Coalition chapter. It includes partners and members from community organizations, from nonprofits, and from volunteers. And really one of the main sort of goals and objectives of the chapter is to work to reduce the growing number of falls and fall-related injuries really across the state of Arizona and in Southern Arizona. Partners include public health organizations, of course, yay! Fire departments, fire districts, hospitals, our service providers, other nonprofits, faith-based organizations, and of course our area agency on aging partners as well. In general, the coalition works to relay feedback and engage with folks at all different levels of the state, and starting with the community and really providing awareness and outreach and education on falls prevention programs and resources in Southern Arizona. We partner with the state coalition and other falls chapters across the state of Arizona to provide education for leaders on systems and policy changes that would benefit older adults in the state of Arizona. And we really work to correspond and keep in contact with our national partners like the National Council on Aging.
Great. I know that that there's a tool that you've all developed, the fall risk assessment tool. Hey, there it is. Tell us what that is and how people can use that to help talk with others about falls.
So I'm really excited to share this tool with everyone. I think it's a great great asset. It's something important that you can use to be in a healthier and a safe place. The tool was worked on collaboratively with all the members of the coalition and with permission from the CDC, with the information that they have that's evidence-based. It's been researched, right? So we were able to work with that information and put together a tool that looks at a person's environment at home and their surroundings, and it also looks at them physically. And so it's an opportunity for a person to kind of go through some questions about their own physical health and to kind of go through some questions about their surroundings so that they can kind of get an idea and reflect and self-reflect on where they're at. The cool thing about this, it's kind of like having some homework. And who doesn't love homework, right? So you can do the assessment and then take this tool, and we encourage everyone to go have a conversation with your doctor, have a conversation with your neighbors, have a conversation with your family members about the information that's in here and about where you're at. Challenge yourself, right? It's always fun to continue to challenge ourselves so that we can continue to grow and stay vertical. So it's a great resource to have.
Stay vertical.
And it's in English and Spanish as well.
Well, it sounds like a really helpful tool. If people want to get their hands on one of those tools or be able to look at it, how do they get it?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question because we do have it available on our PCOA webpage, our partners webpage. We have it available on the healthypima.org webpage under the Falls chapter section. So folks can download the tool if they'd like. We're in the process right now of working with the libraries in Pima County to actually have them physically available. We're not there yet because we've kind of been navigating the challenges of the COVID response, right? Kind of a big challenge right now, but we're making progress. So hopefully these will be physically available and free for everybody to use.
So in the meantime, if you want a hard copy mailed to you, you can reach out to the PCOA Health Promotions Department at 305-3410, and we'll be happy to mail one to you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Lee, and thanks for jumping in with that, Karen. That's really helpful. Karen, so many people have been isolated at home for quite a while now, and they may continue to be for a while longer. What can people do to keep from becoming more vulnerable to falls at home and to stay in control and stay vertical, as Lee said?
Well, even though our weather is very challenging these days, it's very, very important to keep moving, even if you're only moving inside. So moving is a very important component of balance. It can be any kind of physical activity. It can be walking, bicycling, vacuuming, washing your dog, anything that requires a physical activity or a physical exertion. There are 4 different types of exercise, and we've talked about this on earlier episodes, but you've got endurance, strength, balance, and flexibility. So I'm just going to give you a couple of exercises that you can do in your own home that will help you strengthen the muscles that hold you upright. So just sitting in a chair, stand up from the chair and then sit back down, and do that for a period of, do that 5 or 6 times. And each day you do it, increase the number of times you do it. Also, while in that chair, make circles with your ankles, doing the right ankle first, 3 or 4 times, and then switch to the left ankle. Holding on to a chair or a kitchen counter, which is very, very important because remember, we're building our balance. We may not be there yet. Stand on one leg to the count of 5, and then use the other leg to a count of 5. And then finally, alternating steps, marching in place in your chair, or again, holding on to that chair or counter. All those things done several times a week, even when you're watching television or Zooming with your friends, will help you strengthen those muscles that will keep you upright.
That's awesome. I found myself making small circles with my ankles when we were talking.
There you go.
Laura, Kara, let me jump to you for a minute. People may wonder why poison control is at the table when we talk about falls prevention. Can you fill us in on why you guys are at the table?
Yes, and that's a great question. So medications are actually involved in the majority of the poisoning calls that we get here at our center. They account for probably more than 80% of the calls we get total. And so part of our role as a poison center is to actually prevent those injuries like falls that are a result of medication mistakes most times. So we help prevent and reduce the harm from poisoning by educating on medications and the risks that include falls. And so there are actually quite a few different types of medications that are involved in falls. And while they are not going to cause a fall by themselves, they can actually increase that risk through the side effects. So some of those could be sedatives and hypnotics. And one of the really popular ones there is benzodiazepines like Xanax or Valium. We have antidepressants like Prozac and Zoloft, antipsychotics like Abilify, and then cardiovascular drugs that typically treat high blood pressure. Those can actually also increase our risk. And then the popular one right now is opioids. Of course, we're in the midst of an opioid epidemic in addition to the pandemic. So things like Oxycontin and Tramadol that are prescribed can also be those medications that increase the risk. And how do they actually increase the risk? It's usually through the side effects. So all of those medications can have side effects that include sedation, like drowsiness or tiredness. People can become very dizzy, could impair cognition, or it could also affect people's balance and their ability to walk. And so when we talk about medications and fall risk, we want people to actually do a couple things to prevent that risk. First one, and most important, talk to your doctor. You are your own advocate for your health, so make sure that you come prepared with questions and the tools necessary to make sure your health is as best as it can be. So when we say talk to your doctor if you take more than 4 prescription or over-the-counter medicines. That's called polypharmacy, and polypharmacy is actually linked to an increase in the risk for drug interactions, which means that older adults are more susceptible to the side effects of medications like the dizziness and the sedation. And then if you take any of the medications we talked about, especially if you take them together, make sure you talk to your doctor. Keep a detailed medication list to make sure you give that to everyone in your care team, including your primary care physician or any other specialized doctors you see. And then update that after every visit or as needed if you don't go every single time. Include prescription medications, over-the-counter medications like Benadryl or aspirin. Include herbal remedies, dietary supplements, and daily vitamins. And then you can also consider routine medication reviews. Those help doctors determine if maybe your medication should be reduced, if you should be switched to something that's a little safer, or if you should stop that medication altogether. And then lastly, you can always call Poison Control as a resource. We're open 24/7, free to call, completely confidential, and we're staffed by licensed pharmacists who specialize in everything medication. So if you accidentally take a double dose, if you take your medication at the wrong time, if you take your medications too close together, or maybe you accidentally take your husband, wife's, or other partner's medications, you can call us. We assess how severe that poisoning was, give you treatment recommendations. If you have to go to the hospital, we let you know. And then we follow up with a bunch of calls afterwards to make sure everything's okay. So a lot of information, but really call Poison Control. We're here to help you prevent falls from happening.
That's such a valuable community resource, and I'm sure a lot of people have no idea that that even exists for that. What's the best way for folks to call you? You said they could call to find out more. How do they reach you?
Yeah, great question again. So we do have a national helpline. The number is 1-800-222-1222. You can call that from anywhere in the United States and you'll get the Poison Center closest to you.
That's awesome. I know I've actually used that resource a couple of times and it was super, super helpful. So thanks for being here and being a part of that Falls Coalition.
Thank you.
Let's see. So we have, I mentioned earlier, Falls Prevention Week coming right up. I'm curious, Karen, why don't you start off this conversation? Are there events or activities that people can join or participate in for Falls Prevention Week? Hopefully they don't involve falling. How can people learn more about that?
So we invite people to go to our website at PCOA.org and they can check under the Falls Free tab where there'll be events listed. Our two primary events are going to be Zoom events this year, and they are going to be on Tuesday, September 22nd, the first day of fall, and on Thursday, September the 24th. Also, you can find more information about the events and the specifics on page 12 of our Never Too Late newsletter, also located on the PCOA website. We hope everyone will join.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Well, I look forward to participating in some of those activities and letting others know about them as well. And hopefully you get a lot of folks in the community that are participating in those activities. Well, thanks so much for being here with me and for all the work you guys are doing with helping with fall prevention in the community. It's awesome to have all of you.
We're
Yes.
really excited for all the partnerships that we have. It takes all of us to be in a healthier place together.
Yes.
Oh, really. Thank you. Okay, so now your favorite wellness expert of mine here is Marty once again with your health, aging, and wellness tip of the week.
My name is Marty, and I have another little healthy idea for you today. So most all of us have experienced low back pain. The nature of how we live really contributes, unfortunately, to low back pain. So a tightness here in the hip flexors, a tightness in the hamstring easily translates to low back pain, which is seated. That's what, that's how you get so tight, by sitting for long periods of time, which we can't always help but do. And then the other thing that really can contribute is kind of losing our good posture. So as the head comes forward a little bit, I'm exaggerating a little, but you know what I mean, the head kind of leads here, that can really put a lot of pressure on the low back. So the first thing to think about would be to draw your chin in toward your throat, lengthen out the crown of your head, and breathe. Really bring your breathing into play here. Try and breathe nice and deep, soften up your belly, and just let the breath help you relax, because it's generally tightness in some area or a muscle doing a job that it's not really designed to do that tends to lead to this kind of pain. So as I said, moving the low back is going to be really helpful. Keeping our wonderful posture. But this seated cat-cow is a lovely low back stretch. So you see I'm away from the back of the chair. I'm in a nice solid chair. My hips are a little higher than my knees. I'm not sinking down into cushions, okay? That's what you want to have. And then I'm just going to do a little cat-cow, it's called, moving the low back and forth. That just feels very nice. And then the other thing I can do is I can stretch my hamstring muscle by straightening this leg, supporting myself on the leg that's not being stretched, and just have a little lean here. And then I can take the leg and give it a hip flexor stretch by coming off the chair a little and holding this position so that I can feel this front of the hip getting a nice stretch. So you might add, arms stretching a little. You might squeeze your butt a little and have that stretch just be nice. So then, of course, you're always going to do those leg stretches on both sides. Hamstring stretch, supported on your bent leg, nice and long, breathing into it. And hip flexor stretch, where you position yourself a little bit on the edge here of the chair. And you've got that nice feeling in the front of the hips getting stretched. Again, as I said, you could really add anything you like, a little arm stretch, but you're always breathing and really helping your low back with all these stretches. And so I hope that's helpful and that you have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you, Marty. It's so great that you're able to share and demonstrate such practical tips with us. We really appreciate it. Now, a couple of episodes back, we said goodbye to longtime staff member and Pima Council on Aging Chief Operating Officer, Debbie Adams. Her contribution to PCOA will always be deeply appreciated. And after sending her off in style and doing a bit of restructuring internally, we created a new leadership role at PCOA. I would like to introduce you to the person that we selected to fill it. So please welcome Victor Quiros, our new Vice President of Operations. Hi, Victor.
Hi, Lisa.
Great to have you here.
Thanks. It's nice to be here. On the other side, I'm usually just viewing voices.
Oh, well, I appreciate you watching. So help us get to know you a little bit. How has your personal and professional path led you here to PCOA today and in this particular role?
Sure. It's been a long path. PCOA and I were born in the same year, so I've been around pretty much the same number of years. But I've gone back and forth quite a bit. I've done a lot of technology work, mostly database and data analysis. So I graduated from the U of A with a political science degree, and didn't take too long to realize that wasn't really getting me too many places. So I went and got a master's in information systems and worked for a number of years programming and database, and then decided I wanted to go back more in the people relations stuff. So I went for a degree in conflict analysis and resolution. So between the two, I've worked at a few Tucson nonprofits. And then for 6 years, from 2010 to 2016, I was in DC. I was at DC Superior Court. They have the biggest in-court mediation program in the country. So that was a great experience where I got to use my mediation skills and my technology skills as we were implementing new products and new ways of doing things there. And then throughout all of this, I'm also I call myself a metal artist. So I do quite a bit of that. Then the metal work. And really the three to me are all tied by problem solving. And I love puzzles. I love problem solving. So from artwork to mediation to technology, to me is just puzzles all the time. And I love doing that. And now I've been in PCOA for 2 years. I came in doing first database work. And then when this position came up, I was lucky enough to have it offered to me.
So you see PCOA as a puzzle you can help solve. That's awesome.
I'm hoping.
You know, I noticed you were talking about metal work and metal art and looking at your lamp behind you and that mirror behind you. Are those things that you made?
They are, yeah. So I do a lot of my work from reused or recycled materials. So whether I'm getting things at the scrapyard or I find them on the side of a dumpster or things like that. So yeah, the lamp behind me is parts of a pipe that I cut up into little rings, some copper tubing, some lamp pieces, and then the mirror next to it was a couple of mirrors that somebody threw out, and I've built a metal frame and put key hangers on them. And so I've gotten in kicks. I've got a bunch of mirrors and a bunch of lamps, and I've made tables. So I kind of go in cycles of different things to make.
Wow, that's awesome. Those are really beautiful.
Thanks.
So focusing back on work again for a minute. So what can you tell us about this newly created role here and how you see this role benefiting PCOA and the community that we serve?
Yeah, so the position is specifically VP of Operations. It was a position that was combined with a lot of other work that Debbie Adams did for the agency. But the agency has kind of isolated the operations piece of it. And in today's world, besides the COVID stuff, operations and technology really go hand in hand in any organization. So I think that's a lot of the focus of how I'm looking at the position. So we have a brand new, beautiful building that was opened just last year that we haven't been able to fully use, plus the location on East Broadway. So facilities is definitely part of operations, and how we use that space and how we build it into the community and how community members use it. And then beyond that is the technology piece. How does our staff function in this world where we're largely working remotely? How can we best address the needs of the community and the clients that we serve? And how do we move back and forth between the two buildings and within the community? So that's a lot of the way I'm looking at it. And then efficiency is whether you're a for-profit business or a nonprofit like us, efficiency is key. We have to be guardians of public money often and donations that come to us. So being efficient in the way we do things is a lot of how I see my responsibility, and that translates into those folks at PCOA who do direct service to our clients, hopefully finding it easier to do that.
I hear that all the time from my staff. So you're definitely succeeded in that area. We see you as a helpful resource all the time.
Good.
I know that projecting into the future is a particular challenge for all of us right now, but what do you see happening or changing in the next, say, 2 to 3 years as a result of your efforts here?
Back to the technology piece, and not just how we function as a business, but how we affect the community in the way we do things, in being more maybe open to receiving services differently, where we just can't go in physically. We're all hoping this will return to somewhat normalcy by the beginning of the year, but regardless, things are going to change. So it could be a year, 2 years, 3 years. The normal we knew back in February may never return. And so what I'm looking at is how much can we return back to the face-to-face contact that we so desperately want to have with our clients, and that we know many of our clients really benefit from. So we need to get back to some of that. And then how do we bring in technology? How do we give our staff the tools that they need? And to me, data is a huge piece of it. As we try to learn more about our community, identify gaps of service where we're not filling those. We need to collect data. We need to know how to look at it and how to use it. The anecdotal pieces that we all bring to it from our experience are huge. We also need the more quantitative data that tells us, yes, this is working, no, this is not quite working. So that's a big piece that we'll be using a lot more going forward.
That'll be really helpful. I know from my chair and overseeing programs, having that information, being able to quantify that will really help us to identify who we're serving, who we're missing. The services that we're doing are the most efficient and effective they could be, whether any changes we make for them make a difference. So I'm excited to work with you and see some progress on that.
Good. I'm glad to hear people are excited, at least some, about technology and about data. It's not the greatest thing that people think of, and it's not the first thing that a lot of people think of, but so far I'm getting pretty good reception from quite a few PCOA staff and other partners.
Yeah, well, somehow it's something about your personality. You're just a joy to be around, and you make data fun for all of us.
Yay! Good thing this is being recorded. Thanks, Lisa.
Well, congratulations on your new role here, Victor. And we're really just lucky to have your experience, skill, and expertise. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm extremely happy to be here and excited about the future.
Awesome. So next up, we go back to our Caregiver Skills Lab for a new caregiving tip of the week. Let's watch.
Your helpful tip of the day to keep you safe at home. I recently moved in with my daughter and her family. While I enjoy the time with them, I'm becoming more self-conscious about my incontinence and find myself self-isolating from them. Please help.
So one of the common tools that we can use is a blanket chuck. This helps us maintain our furniture safe and free of any incontinence. It is easily foldable. You can maneuver it, set it down, and it is washable. The other part of this is the disposable chuck. This can also be used the same way, but it is disposable, and all you need to do is get rid of it.
So to help discard some of those items, the disposable chuck, we have these great little tissue box that actually contains bags that you can dispose of your chucks or briefs. So these briefs are adult pull-up briefs. In this case, there are some for men and women, and they are very discreet and comfortable, just like a regular underwear. So these are great to have. Also, you want to ensure that you have some type of peri wipe or peri spray to help skin breakdown, making sure you're keeping your skin clean and there's no breaks in the skin, and this also helps with odor. And if you do happen to experience some breakdown, we also have some barrier cream, some moisture cream that you want to be applying. Always want to check with your doctors before using any type of creams.
We hope this was helpful.
Thank you again for sharing such useful tips. Having a caregiver skills lab has been a really helpful way to demonstrate practical tips that caregivers can use every day. If you need help or you have questions about the services that we offer here at Pima Council on Aging, give our helpline team a call at 790-7262. They'd love to hear from you, 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. You can always email me here at voices@pcoa.org too. We'd love to hear from you that way. So that's it for today. Take care out there. I'll see you again with another episode in just a couple of weeks. And until then, be safe and let your voice be heard. Bye, everybody.